We ain't partners, we ain't brothers, and we ain't friends. And if Gans gets away, you're gonna be sorry you ever met me.
It's a good story.
I'm already sorry.
Rough around the edges.
Your worst fucking nightmare, man.
An enormous amount of profanity.
What the fuck do you care?
Dick was emerging as a strong force. And most importantly, there was the discovery of a great new star.
Should have my dick bronze.
I mean, this is 40 years ago, I think, isn't it? There's a lot of shit and alcohol that have gone under the bridge since then, so I may not be perfect in my memory. The project predated me. Larry Gordon had an original idea back when he was an executive at American International. Somebody had captured the daughter of the governor of Louisiana, tied dynamite to her head, and gave the state 48 hours to come up with the ransom money or something like that. And the script went through many hands, but I wasn't really part of it until the project moved from Columbia to Paramount, which I think was probably about 1979, 1980. And then I did a draft. Mr. Eastwood expressed some interest in the project, but before we even finished the script, he decided he was going to do the Don Siegel movie where he breaks out of Alcatraz. That meant he played a prisoner in a prison movie, and he didn't want to be the cop because he was already Dirty Harry. So he was quite correct, I think, in his analysis. Nothing happened. This was the late 70s, and I went off and did a couple of movies. But in early spring of 1982, I got a phone call saying, was I still interested, and would I do it with Nick Nolte? And I said yes to both with delight. We had to be in the theaters by Christmas. Paramount perceived that there were no action movies that were going to come out at Christmas, and they called it counter-programming. I remember they wanted to get an action movie into the theaters because everything was going to be comedy and heavy drama. And we were very much their second film. They were making Airplane 2, which is what they thought to be their big money movie. You know, things theoretical change when suddenly you've got the pencil in your hand. And I thought that as genre-oriented as the story of 48 Hours was, you had to have something that made this more unique.
Not a very popular place with the brothers.
My kind of place.
I wanted to introduce the tension of racial attitudes and anxiety, I guess I'd call it, within the envelope of genre expectation. So I suggested maybe we could entice Richard Pryor into it. Richard was a rocket through the sky at that point. He was way too big a star for Reggie. It's a good part, God knows. Eddie made a meal out of it, but it's the second lead. Anyway, that didn't work out. But I was having a romance at the time with Eddie's agent, a young woman who eventually I married and am still married to. She had me watch a lot of Saturday Night Live tape on Eddie, and I thought, yeah, boy, this guy's terrific. I flew to New York. We talked about the script. He said he liked it. And I remember telling Eddie, there aren't any jokes. I want the movie to have humor, but it must come out of the characters. There's no one-liners or anything like that. There's sarcasm, and sometimes sarcasm can be funny, but remember this about film. The jokes are funny, but the bullets are real.
Hammond! Hand me that gun or you're dead.
It was a funny thing. We got the movie together. Eddie came in the studio, immediately started in on me. We wanted to be funny.
Police, open up.
During the hotel fight, the gunfight in the hotel, I was under suspicion that I was going to throw the movie into the action department and forget about the comedy because I was this rough guy who liked to do action and didn't give a shit about the goddamn jokes. It's so violent. Action movies are tricky in that you're dealing with a movie kind of reality that is not the same kind of problems that drama has. In other words, nothing like this kind of story really happens that way.
Toss me that goddamn piece, and he won't waste him.
Don't do it, Jack.
So you have to kind of create a world where the audience accepts the possibility that this is the way people would behave within certain circumstances.
Nice gun.
As It's one of the reasons I wanted to shoot the movie with very long lenses as much as possible, because I thought that created its own kind of slightly dreamlike world of theatrical reality rather than on-the-street reality, although we were going to use street attitudes all the way through.
That's a fairly crummy way to start a morning.
Maybe I got a fairly crummy day ahead.
I like Nick very much. I always found him an amiable actor to direct. I used to encourage him to be a star. You know, come on, Nick, don't run away from it. And he was always, I know I'm an actor. Because I thought he could be McQueen or Redford or somebody, you know. He had it within him to be that kind of star. But Nick shied away from it. And he was irritated with me if I would push him into movie star heroics. But at the same time, he's a real good guy and he's funny. And he and I would get into it in a good humored way.
You said bullshit and experience is all it takes, right?
Right.
Well, come on and experience some of my bullshit.
I told Nick, look, Eddie is tremendously talented. He is not a trained actor. So this is going to be a movie where we're going to do it like you're working with a kid. The one take that he does it great, we're printing. So that means you got to be great every take. Oh, that's not fair, Walt. God damn it. I don't think it. I said, Nick, it's going to be the way it is. And the truth was, Nick was great every take.
I didn't want you sleeping on the job.
Nick's a very generous actor. He and Eddie got along very well. And Eddie would be the first to tell you that Nick helped him a lot in ways that I think only actors can take care of each other. We got a dialogue coach in to work with him so he could pick up his cues. He was used to comedy routines. Sometimes he would go, I thought, a little too much for a comedy technique, but I didn't want a grizzled con. If that was the idea, we should never have hired Eddie. He played a smart, streetwise, big personality guy.
See how you needed me a little more than you thought, huh, Mr. K?
For instance, the way we had Eddie dress, that suit. You know, this is not a Lee Marvin approach to a guy coming out of prison.
This prison give out $400 suits?
$957 and I wore this shit in. I got a reputation for looking real nice with the ladies, man.
We actually shot that in the jail in East LA. I think probably about halfway through the film. We rehearsed. And I didn't feel very good. I don't know if I had eaten something or I don't know what, but it just didn't go very well. I got them together. I said, you know, this scene stinks. We got to figure something out here that's going to make it a little more, you know, special. So we wrapped early. Next day, came in and Eddie started singing. You know, he was singing Roxanne. Everybody is at the studio is calling, saying, you have no clearance, don't sing that song. And I'm thinking to myself, holy God, this is great. This is where you decide to save the studio from itself. And I said, no, I'm going to shoot the scene this way, and that's it. Get clearance. So it worked out. But it was kind of a spontaneous thing of Eddie. And then we built on it. I did save some of his biggest scenes. I very purposefully put those at the end of the schedule because I thought he'd be better. For instance, the Redneck Bar is one of the last things that we shot. To set the stage for that scene, the setup of the band and the dancing girls and all that, I think that's the most cartoony thing in the movie. If I had to do over, I might trim back on some of that, but I wouldn't change Eddie. Eddie was right up to speed on that. I mean, he couldn't wait to shoot it, and he kept his energy up for the whole thing.
All right, listen up. I don't like white people. I hate rednecks. You people are rednecks. It means I'm enjoying this shit.
Larry Gross had come in that day, worked on the script with me. He's a very good writer, and he was standing next to me by the camera.
Where the fuck did you get this?
Tax refund.
It's bullshit. Too fucking stupid to have a job.
And the first time Eddie did the whole big routine, I called cut. I turned to Larry and I said, we're rich. And what I should have said was, Eddie's rich.
I want the rest of you cowboys to know something. There's a new sheriff in town, and his name is Reggie Hammond.
You just knew that he was going to be a great star.
Y'all be cool. Right on.
I mean, the people that came out of Saturday Night Live, they made their living doing comedies and they were very successful, but they were boxed in. And what 48 Hours did for Eddie was that he came out of Saturday Night Live with his impeccable comedy credentials.
The money jack.
Yeah, right.
But he showed that he could do an action movie and he could do a dramatic turn. And in a sense, that put Eddie way ahead of everybody else. David Patrick Kelly, I first saw him in a Broadway musical. He did Studs Terkel's Working. And I had this notion that he would make a good villain rather than a big, strong fellow. I thought, although he's actually quite athletic, but he's a small man. And I thought if I surrounded him with big guys and he could project that Richard III personality, that it might work very well for the film. And it did.
Instead of worrying about Reggie, you better start worrying about me.
James Remar, I had worked with on The Warriors and also The Long Riders. He had always done such a good job for me. He gives you everything he has. And I wanted a high energy guy for the part. You know, you have to believe in the people you cast. You want to see what their instincts are going to take them to a place where maybe you didn't even see that coming yourself.
Hey, what about me?
Yeah, and I need one more for my friend, and I'll make her an Indian.
Sonny was a real character. I wanted to use a guy that was legitimately an Indian, and Sonny was. He was from one of the tribes there in Georgia, but also had a real magnetism and charm to him. I'll tell you a little story. I'd kind of gone out on a limb in casting. Everybody kept saying, oh, Christ, you don't want to, don't bring that guy in. He had been in Southern Comfort, and he had gotten in a little bit of trouble when we were down there. He had a tendency to get in trouble when he was drinking.
Firewater, Tonto. Is that what you mean? Firewater, huh?
Hey, Jesus!
I remember the production manager said, why are we going to do this again, Jesus? And I think he could bring something to it. He's reformed now. The very first thing we shot was the title sequence with James Remar and Sonny pull off this jailbreak from the road game. Sonny was scheduled to work the very first day, and they come over to me that morning and say, how much can you shoot without Sonny? And I said, well, what the hell are you talking about? And not much. He got arrested the night before in our hotel bar. He had gotten in some scrape. And they got him out, and they got him to the set. And I was really mad. So I took him for a walk down the railroad bed. And the railroad bed, like most of them, has all the rocks on either side of the rails. He kept trying to say that he was innocent. And I was taking the, God, I don't give a goddamn what the goddamn story is, but you better, and I got so mad because he kept saying that he was innocent that I started throwing rocks at him. Now, let me assure you that if it had come to a physical contest, Sonny would have killed me with one punch. He was a big, strong guy. Anyway, everybody assumed that I had fired him, which I didn't. We then shot the rest of the day. And he was terrific in the movie. I have to say that all this, it sounds so negative. I love the guy. He had a big heart. He was a generous man. He just had a hard time fitting in.
Jack, tell me a story.
Fuck you.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
There have certainly been a lot of buddy films historically. I mean, people have said to me how often 48 Hours was an imitated movie. But usually the imitation did not have what I always thought was the critical element, was that the two characters didn't like each other.
You tell me the truth or you're gonna get the living shit beat out of you.
Are you gonna kick my ass now?
Let me explain one thing to you. I fight dirty.
It's a movie fight, but thing I didn't want one of those kind of Hollywood fights. The camera will be polished in its long lens way, but I want the movie to be rough around the edges, and I want it not to seem over-rehearsed. Throw little punches and roll around, fight dirty.
What kind of fucking garbage?
We had a very good stunt coordinator, Benny Dobbins. He sadly passed away on a movie I was doing a few years later. He passed away on the set. God rest his soul. He was a good one.
Roaming around the streets with a charcoal-colored loser like you. You're just a spear chucker with a number stenciled on the back of his prison fatigues.
People question Jack's racist remarks. How much of it was a deeply felt personal attitude, and how emblematic of it was police work in general? Was it not a overall strategy of breaking down a criminal and getting him to be more confessional about the facts that he needed to know? There's all these questions about those attitudes within the film, but Jack does apologize.
Nigger and watermelon, I didn't mean that stuff. I was just doing my job, keeping you down.
Yeah, well, doing your job don't explain everything, Jack.
Yeah, you're right.
Reggie, while accepting the apology in a certain way, still has great reservations about Jack's demeanor. And I suspect that that part of the movie might withstand the kind of withering criticism of racial politics back then as opposed to now, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. That's not my job. I leave that to those wiser than I am. I thought that the end gunfight in Chinatown, everybody, rather than just being tired at the end of the film, really rose up. I thought that Rick Waite's work was excellent. James Remar's attitude is so tough and unrelenting that it sets everything else up.
I got you a gun. I got the money. I got everything.
I thought Nick really caught it, and that Eddie's counterpoint to Nick's grim determination was wonderful.
Take Game Man and blow his fucking brains out!
One of the biggest laughs is Eddie's reaction to Nick's behavior.
Are you crazy, man? I was just bluffing!
Eddie's laugh line has to play off Jack, but it also plays off the situation that everybody's in, and it comes out of James Remar's character. Really, you know, you're just talking about three guys standing in an alley. I mean, it's not a big fucking two armies here and we strike at dawn. This is three guys in an alley, two of them have guns. I think you also can't really talk about the end of the movie without talking about James Horner's contribution.
48 hours, M111, take 8.
He made the movie bigger, better. He did a hell of a score. I remember 48 Hours with affection. I don't think it's one of my most philosophical works. As far as being an entertaining movie, I think it's pretty obviously about as good as we ever did. But, you know, sometimes things just, they go right. And other times you do everything kind of you think is the right way and they just don't go right. I've had a number of hits and a number of them that weren't. And a lot of it is just catching the wave. You're in the right film at the right moment. Maybe Paramount was correct in that we didn't have a lot of competition on the action front. So if you wanted to hear the sound of a gunshot, you went to see our movie.
You're done. End of story.
Come on, let's go.